Giant Sparrow's last effort, The Unfinished Swan, has us take the role of a small boy, using paint as a gameplay mechanic to traverse his way through a storybook castle. In my eyes, it left a little to be desired in the storytelling department, and the gameplay began to run a little stale after the novelty of the first level wore off. The framework was there, however, for the studio to create something great. Thankfully, Giant Sparrow's newest creation, What Remains of Edith Finch, shows a natural progression in storytelling structure and gameplay elements that are both intriguing and fun. You play as the titular Edith Finch, a young woman whose family has been cursed with tragic deaths to all those unlucky enough to be born with the Finch surname. As Edith, the last Finch, you've returned as an adult to the house where said tragedies took place, hoping for some closure as well as answers. Armed with nothing but a hand-drawn family tree, your journey begins. In the game, you explore the Finch house, learning the tragic and sometimes horrific fates of her past family members. Each family member's past life, or death, is presented as its own micro-narrative, with each story requiring a different type of gameplay. One might have you playing as a child in the bathtub, while another might simply be a flipbook. My favorite included a young man working in a fish cannery. The trick is, with the right stick, you're slowly and drearily chopping heads off of fish. Slowly, a storybook tale of Valor begins to fill the left side of the screen, affording control from the left control stick. It's a compelling dissonance, as the repetitive nature of his job and the thrilling story that he's crafted in his head begin to intertwine. Narrative between stories is presented through on-screen text and exploring the house, which works surprisingly well, thanks to Edith's languishing voiceover.
Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just too much of it, like a smile with too many teeth.
What Remains of Edith Finch is strange and it's sometimes quite tragic, but it's undeniably charming. Allowing you to play through the untimely deaths of the members of the Finch family is a spectacular way to create connection between the Finch's deceased and the player. Each tale is told beautifully, and in a medium that makes sense for that family member's specific method of cessation. The house itself is a character of note. With hidden passages and boarded-up rooms, it just weeps misery and secrecy. It's a joy each time you find a new room, despite knowing that a new, tragic death is right around the corner. Many will draw parallels between this title and Gone Home. Both feature a character returning home, looking for answers, and both fit into the so-called walking simulator subgenre. While I enjoyed Gone Home, its groundedness and lack of things to quote-unquote do didn't sit well with me as it did here. Edith Finch feels like a modern-day Brothers Grimm fairy tale, and I was excited to explore each family member's specific tragedy, as terrible as that sounds. By the time the credits roll, What Remains of Edith Finch has taken about 2.5 hours of your time. I'd strongly recommend playing it through in one sitting, but with as compelling as the characters are, and the morbid curiosity to find out how the next family member dies, you're likely to anyways. What Remains of Edith Finch is both normal and strange, and I can't recommend it enough.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.